What is up, Scrub fam? I am back with another deck profile. Man, this set. So, I mean, you were still using a lot of older leaders and whatnot from a set before, but there's so many cool cards in this set, and this is another deck that just kind of highlights some of those and really kind of pushes those to the forefront just to get people familiar with them. And this is a deck that, I've already had someone reach out to me. They found this list on, my Shinron Layers account, and they went ahead and pulled it up, played it at their locals. They went undefeated with it. And so I figured, cool. Well, I mean, person did really well with it outside of my own testing, because this deck has also done well in testing. And so I figured I'd go ahead and just share it in a deck profile for you guys, so you guys had what it is. And if you didn't think about it before, now you can think about it and then take it, innovate the list as you want, make some changes, make it fit your own play style, and then try and enjoy this kind of new archetype. So before I get started, let me give a shout out to my shop, like my sponsor, Bearded Collectibles, Alec Pastrana, best shop owner on the planet. If you're looking for the best prices on sealed product for Tournament of Power or Set 4, because you need that Set 4 stuff before Gen Con so you can be prepared, go to beardcollectibles.com, get yourself some creds, as Pat O'Neill would say. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and jump straight into the deck profile. So this deck is mono yellow Ginyu. We have a couple colors that we do splash, but this is definitely a mono yellow deck. It's the core of your energy base, so it's what all the colors you're really casting use. And so this deck also centers around Frieza, Emperor of Universe 7. This card, when it comes down, is incredibly powerful. So if your litter card's yellow, your opponent's counter skills and non-keyword auto-activate skills cannot be activated unless they place one card from their life in the drop area. So whenever your opponent goes to swing their leader and activate their auto, whenever they play a super combo and try and activate their auto, if they do a negate, try and activate that, or play any sort of activate means, all those different things, your opponent has to crit themselves in order to be able to do it. So this card puts a ton of pressure on the opponent. And yeah, you can play this with Universe 7 Frieza, which I wouldn't mind you doing. Main reason why is because the Universe 7 Frieza untapped 2-liter, so even though it doesn't have Bloodlust, it has a way to cycle through the deck, so you could play it like this, but I really want to have access to Bloodlust so I can make sure that this Frieza Emperor of Universe 7 lives at all costs. Especially if my opponent has somehow preserved their life total and they're sitting at 3 life before they play a removal spell, I want to make sure that I have Cold Bloodlust access so I can go ahead and protect this so it can just survive for the next turn. So this card has been absolutely, it's been pretty disgusting in testing, and so this deck kind of highlights that. You have a few ways to cast it. You have hard casting it for 7. You have King Cold reducing the cost of any 5 or less by 2. So that reduces your Cold Hearted Strike to a 3-drop, your Frieza to a 5-drop, and then your Big Cooler to a 5-drop as well. And then of course you have the Cooler getting this out first, and then being able to remove a battle card that you control and play to bring this back from the graveyard, and then now you have a ridiculous board presence. And then lastly, the way that's probably the most common is just if you get to turn 5, usually you're already awakened, you played Cold Hearted Strike Frieza, you swing with your leader, and then you Shigesh into Preface of Recovery Son Goku, and then you evolve into Frieza Emperor of Universe 7. And then from there, you still have an energy up for a Bloodlust on your opponent's turn or something to be able to defend yourself, so you're good to go from there. And that ends up being a pretty common play pattern with this deck. Alright, so the rest of the deck, we can go into it. My stuff that's off color, I play 4 Unbreakable Super Saiyan Son Goku. This card's not just for the defensive purposes, but it's also because it helps give you momentum. So if you ever have a turn where you need to start digging to find things, these are great to play. And then of course, a lot of times you're going to end up passing with some energy open, so you always have this available to yourself to be able to, keep pace with the opponent card-wise. You have 3 Preface of Recovery Son Goku. Again, this is going to be meant for us to Shigesh into play, especially after we make our big play to play our 7-drop Frieza. We want to make sure we have energy open. We have 2 Trunks Power of Seeing Time. This is to get back any piece that you may need, whether if it's a Shigesh, whether if it's a battle card, something like that. You can go ahead and get that back so you can continue to pressure your opponent and help you go for game. And then let's go ahead and dive into yellow cards. 4 Planet Vegeta, because having a tutor for your super combo and utility cards is good. So whether if you want to search an Explosive Spirit, Shigesh, Preface of Recovery, and then Unbreakables, you have the ability to tutor those with no issues. 4 Cold Bloodlust, you need to play 4 Cold Bloodlust in this format. You can't play any less than this number. If you are, then you're bad, as Anthony Hernandez would say. You need to play 4, because hits running around everywhere. You have gross stuff that can happen with the new 5-drop Goku. You have, the ridiculous Gokus that can come down, things like that. And then, of course, your sideboard plan, you have to play Crusher Balls and whatnot to be able to combat against those other decks. You have 4 Master Roshi, Forged to Will. This is your negate in this deck. Again, we're trying to limit the amount of extra cards that we have, so we play this. Again, in your sideboard, you can run Nimbus against some more aggressive strategies, but as of right now, I really like this card. For Youthful Bulma, this is just cantrip. When you play this card, draw a card. Helps you give you an early turn play aside from Planet Vegeta. So we have 2 turn 1 plays that allow us to net a card. And this just, again, gives us a 5k combo and board momentum to get through the deck. 4 Unwavering Solidary Shigesh. It's 3 for energy, so you just do it, right? 4 LeBron James. Shout out to Cleveland Cavaliers winning Game 7. LeBron James is the GOAT. Explosive Spirits on Goku. LBJ all day. It's the king, baby. This card does it all. Comes into play when it kills the thing that's in rest mode. It has barrier, it has blocker, and then at the end of the turn you can switch into active mode. So if you want to swing this guy, you can pressure your opponent, then it untaps at the end of the turn. And again, barrier super relevant, especially if you want to go for game. 3 Destructive Occupation Frieza, just another defensive measure. So instead of playing Negates, we just run 3 Destructive Occupation Frieza. So we have this, Roshi, and Unbreakables to act as 1 energy interaction on our opponent's turn, so we can keep ourselves alive. I really like that. We have 4 Overpowering King Cold. You're going to charge this card a lot. You only really need to resolve 1, and if you resolve 1, you then need to protect it. But you play 4 in the deck. There's some games where you cast it, some games where you don't. Either way, it's okay, but I feel like this is a necessary evil in this deck. I wish there was a way to tutor it, but there's not, so you have to play 4. And then we have to play 4 Cold-Hearted Strike, and we have to play 4 Frieza Universe 7. Main reason why, combined with Orochi, is we have 12 Universe 7 cards. In order for us to do the EX Evolve, we need to make sure we have a pitch card we can pitch that's Universe 7. So that's why we have to max out copies of those cards, so you always have an option for that. And then we have the 4 Frieza Emperor Universe 7, as I said before. Card's your finisher. It's absolutely nuts. It's disgusting. It's going to win the game when it comes down the majority of the time. This is why you play 4 of it, because you need to see it, need to find it. And like I stated just before, you need to make sure you have Universe 7 cards that you can pitch for the EX Evolve. And then 2 Cooler Blood of the Tyrant Clan. If this card comes down, it's no good for the opponent. Like, if this card comes down, it's disgusting. Like, you remove 1 of your battle cards from the game, bring this guy back, and then it's pretty much just game, because now you have this huge double striker, you have this huge triple striker, and your opponent can't activate effects against you, and so these things are going to sit there until your opponent has to basically tap out, and then you can keep bringing it back if your opponent keeps killing this. So this card is fantastic in this deck. I like it as a 2 of, maybe even go down to a 1 of in testing if I want to make space for something else, but I do like this card in this deck right now. This deck does run a lot of 10k combos, so that can be an issue, but like I said before, you don't keep your energy open that much. I mean, you don't tap out on your turns that much unless you're going for your mid to late game plays, so you can leave your energy up. So it's definitely more of a control style deck. If you want to tweak this and put more extra cards in it, I would suggest putting in Nimbuses, Crusher Balls, especially with people starting to play the secret rare in the green Goku, the A-Drop SPR. So I highly recommend thinking about this card, especially in your sideboard. If you want to main deck, then that's cool. But anyways, yeah, this is a deck I've had a good amount of success in testing with. It's probably one of the ones I'll keep in my rotation for a while as I'm testing for Atlantic City and things like that, just to make sure, you know, if this is the deck to play, I want to make sure I have access to it and continue to grind games with it and just figure out all the matchups. But this is the deck that I really like in this new format, especially if, you know, people don't know what the cards do. That's always a great thing. So, like, remember 7-drop Gohan from set 2? People didn't know what that card did. So anytime you get to play a powerful card that your opponent has to pick up and read, usually you're going to be able to beat your opponents because they don't know how to play around it in the first game. So you'll steal game 1, and then game 2, you'll then have to play a little bit more. They'll start playing around things a little bit more. They'll be a little bit more timid, and then you can capitalize on that. But anyways, this deck's been pretty successful so far. Like I stated before, there was someone that reached out to me who had played this list at their local. They went undefeated, and they played against things like the new veggies, or I don't know. It's got Jamaica. Like, I don't know, but all the weird names for the red-green or Naya veggies is probably the best thing to say, because it's basically Naya colors from Magic. But anyways, hope you guys enjoy this deck profile. Hope this deck is something that you test out and you enjoy, and you can get some W's off of it. And if anything, it just teaches you about the new different cards and new interactions, and if anything, gives you a glimpse into what to look for in your own deck building to be able to get the maximum value out of your deck and out of your cards. But anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in to another deck profile by the good one, Scrub Fam as Best Fam. Okay, bye!